Hey guys, good morning. It's morning over here. I don't know what time it is when you're watching this, but I hope you're having a good one. Hi, my name is Dee. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, I just come here and I talk about different things that are going on in my life, mostly in my Invisalign journey, which is something that seems to be something that a lot of people are interested about doing their Invisalign later in life. And today I was inspired to do this video because I was thinking about the fact that Invisalign is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of discipline. The having to remember to keep them in for at least 20 hours every day, making sure that when you finish eating, you brush your teeth and you brush your Invisalign as soon as possible. The fact that you have to keep up with the schedule, make sure to replace the trays when it's time to do so. You know, it takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of thinking about it. And I was thinking about the fact that I think it's a good thing that I'm doing this at this point in my life when I have the level of discipline that I have accumulated over the years. I try to think about me going through this in my teenage years, and I just cannot imagine having the discipline and the presence of mind to, you know, it's the little things. It's the replacing the trays on time. It's the making sure that I don't keep them out for too long. It's the remembering to go stay on schedule, because sometimes I get confused. I started out, my doctor had put me on a schedule where I changed my trays every 2 weeks, and now I'm down to 10 days. Now, every 2 weeks is a lot easier to remember because at least you're changing them on the same day of the week. But when it's 10 days, it's a little trickier. And so I had to make a schedule for myself. Although I believe that there is an app, an Invisalign app. I think I'm gonna download it and talk to you about that. That might be my next video. But in this app, apparently, there's a reminder of when to change your trays, so you can inform the app what schedule you're on at the time. But right now I don't have it, so I have been doing this all off my memory. And as a teenager, I just don't think I would have had the discipline. Let me give you an example. I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism when I was around, I believe I was about 14, when I was told that I had this situation. My thyroid was not working up to the level that it was supposed to. And so I remember my doctor saying to me, okay, here are the pills you're supposed to take. You're supposed to take 3 of these pills every day. You have to remember to do it. If you're not disciplined with this, your thyroid is not going to get better, and you might have to spend the rest of your life taking another pill, 1 pill for the rest of your life. And I thought, okay, well, yeah, sure, and whatever. And of course, because I was a teenager and I was dumb, I would skip some days, and then I would do some dumb things like, I think it was 2 pills a day at that time that I had to take. And if I would forget to take them one day, the next day I would take 4. It was a mess. Anyway, by the time I reached 18 years old, I went back to the doctor, and when the doctor measured my hormone levels, he realized that my thyroid just had not gotten any better. So he looked at me and he said, guess what? Your thyroid did not get any better, so now you're gonna have to take 1 pill, 1 Synthroid, every day for the rest of your life, or else you're gonna be in a lot of trouble, because your thyroid is very important for every function in your body, and it's not working well, and you didn't do what I told you to do, so now you're going to have to take 1 Synthroid every day for the rest of your life. And I was devastated. I felt horrible. I felt guilty. I felt bad because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I kicked myself for it. But then eventually I just said, you know what, just do what you have to do. And I started taking my Synthroid faithfully, because by then I was 18, 19, I was more of an adult. And so I was a little more disciplined, not perfectly disciplined, but much better than when I was younger. Thank God it turned out that over the years, somehow my thyroid regulated itself. I started seeing another doctor when I moved here to the United States. And the doctor said, hey, you know, your thyroid levels are a little high, which means that maybe you shouldn't be taking this pill. So we started doing half of the pill. And when the doctor checked me out, he's like, yeah, you don't have to take this anymore. It seems like you're well. And thanks be to God, every time I have checked my thyroid, it's been fine. Anyway, that was just a little aside to let you know that I had a happy ending on that sort. But the point I'm making is, as a teenager, I just didn't have this kind of discipline. I mean, down to when you're washing your trays, you have to make sure to dry them before you put them back in your mouth. I guess it has something to do with bacterial accumulation. If you put the trays back in and they're still wet and there's water still in there and you're holding it against your teeth, it's too many little things that you have to pay attention to, that I don't know that as a teenager or even somebody in my early 20s, I would be able to handle. Which brings me to the question of, is there a blessing in being a late bloomer? I think it is. I think there is. Different aspects of your life require that you pay attention, that you are disciplined, that you are steadfast. And being an older person, I hate using that term because I feel like I'm youthful in spite of my age. But being a grown adult, I like that better. Being a grown adult brings so much to the plate that you did not have in your plate before. And I think that being a late bloomer is a good thing. I used to hate to go on Facebook and see all my friends talking about all their successes and how they're doing so well and they got married and they had families. And as a matter of fact, I stopped going on Facebook precisely because of that, because I just didn't feel I wasn't measuring up to their experiences. I was a failure. I was a loser. That's how I felt. And I've had time to think about the fact that, yes, there's a lot of things that I didn't get to accomplish when I was younger. But what if I get to accomplish them now? I think I'll do a better job now. And if you stop and think about it, what are the things that make people who achieve success later in life have more sustainable success? Well, you develop things like patience, wisdom, perspective. Let's start with patience. I have levels of patience now that my younger self couldn't even fathom. I used to have such a nasty temper. I kept it in for the most part, but I still felt the rage. I wasn't the kind of person that would go off and yell at people. That wasn't something that I used to do outwardly, but I used to carry a lot of rage. Any little thing could just ruin my day. Let's say if I was serving myself a plate of food and some of the food spilled off the plate and fell on the floor, that was enough to ruin my day. Why did this happen? Why did it have to happen? And why wasn't I paying attention? It was a mess. And I just can't believe, when I look at myself now, the things that just don't faze me anymore. The fact that I have so much more patience now that I never had before. I wanted everything right now and here and now, and I wanted everything. I don't feel that way now. When you get older, when you've lived through life and you understand that life is not a la carte, that things don't happen exactly when and how you want them to happen, you develop a kind of a superpower which makes you able to actually take your time, wait things out, wait for the right opportunity. Don't rush into things, but actually wait for the right moment to strike. And those are very valuable skills to have in business, especially, but also in life and in relationships. Let's think about wisdom. The longer you are living in this earth, the better you are at reading life, understanding things, learning from your mistakes. Even more valuable, learning from others' mistakes, so you don't have to be the one to go through that. You learn to understand people better. And understanding people, I think, has to be the number one skill that anybody can develop in order to achieve success in any arena. You have to understand people. And that wisdom comes from dealing with people over the years. When you're younger, you tend to be more self-centered and you start thinking mostly about what you are thinking, what you are feeling, instead of paying attention and looking around you and seeing what the people around you are feeling and thinking, developing emotional intelligence, which is in short supply in this world. But if you really pay attention, to others and yourself, you can develop that emotional intelligence, that ability to not only be able to understand yourself, but to put yourself in the shoes of others and understand where they are coming from. That's something that's very valuable. What's the other thing I mentioned? Perspective. Perspective is incredibly important. Perspective is simply the ability to judge situations. At least that's my definition that I'm giving. I don't know what the dictionary definition is. But for me, when I talk about perspective, I'm talking about being able to look at situations and make smart assessments and understanding what's really important. What's the end goal here? Do I just want to win this argument? Do I just want to win this battle? Or do I want to have harmony? Do I want to have camaraderie so that that can translate into success in whatever aspect of life? See, these are things that you cannot achieve unless you have experience, and experience comes with time. So why is it that when people have success later in life, it's more sustainable, it's more enjoyable? A lot of younger people out there, they have a lot of money, they became successful really fast, and they are depressed, they are anxious, they're popping pills, they're on drugs. And you look at them and you're like, what's wrong? What's going on? You have everything you worked for. What's happening? It's the whole thing of lacking perspective. Usually younger people tend to be more impatient, and even when they achieve great things, they're impatient for what's next. What's the next thing? Why isn't this happening? Why is that person over there enjoying? I've come to the place where I don't care what anybody else is doing or achieving. As long as where I am is enjoyable for me, I'm winning. And winning doesn't mean that somebody else has to lose. Winning means I am doing well, I am happy, I'm content. And that is something that directly correlates to all the years that I have lived on this earth, from observing others, from learning from other people's experience, from listening and learning, being humble enough to understand that I don't know everything, but that I can learn from others, that it's better to cooperate than to just be the lone survivor, the only one who's winning. These are things that come with age. Financial literacy. Even if you don't take courses in finance, you can learn from your experiences in life. If you've observed and you've seen yourself and others struggle financially, you can learn from those experiences and you can apply them in the future. And that can be better than just jumping in financially with both feet and not really knowing what lies ahead because you're young and you're filled with hubris and arrogance. So having success later in life is something that really I consider to be a blessing. In fact, studies show that as people get older, they feel more successful for the most part. There's always exceptions to the rules, and there's a lot of people who get to their later years and they feel that they didn't achieve anything, and I feel terrible for those people. But for the most part, people tend to feel more and more satisfied with their lives as they get older. Is it because things get better around them? Is it because they have more money? Is it because they have more love? Not necessarily. But by the time you get to a certain age, you learn to appreciate the things that you were overlooking in your 20s. You learn to value the little things that you never considered to be important when you were younger. And so you have this sense of, you know what, I'm a lot more successful than I thought. And I feel that that is what I am coming across. These are the feelings that I'm coming across lately that inspired me to just share this with others, to let you know that success can only be determined by you. What exactly is success to you? Because see, you can spend your entire life chasing something, and when you reach it, you realize it didn't do for you what you thought it was going to do. So you're not successful. I don't care how much money you have. Success is reaching to a point of contentment, full and total contentment. And I think it becomes easier to do that when you're older. If you're in business, you know when to stop overextending yourself. You know, okay, I think I've achieved enough for the day. It's time to go home, spend time with my loved ones. I don't have to burn the midnight oil. Success is out there tomorrow. Tomorrow when I go out there, it will be there waiting for me. I no longer see myself as a loser because I didn't accomplish certain things at the same time that my peers did it. I no longer feel, and sometimes I do feel jealous when I see younger people accomplishing the things that I want to accomplish, and they accomplished it in half the time. But you know what? Was I ready? Was I ready in my 20s or in my early 30s for the kind of success that I am working towards? I don't think so. Now that I've come to know myself in the ways that I do, I'm very grateful for the way things have turned out. And my story is not done. There's still more to come. The best is yet to come. I truly, truly, truly believe, I am convinced now as I stand here today in front of you, on September 1st, 2021, I truly believe that my best years are ahead of me. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. If you want to add to the conversation, please leave a comment below. If you like what you saw, please leave a like. If you disagree with what I said, leave a dislike and tell me why you disagree with me. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And if it's evening, good night.